an awful thing to say, but in this day and age, you know, that is a real worry for people, especially with vulnerable and sick people, you know, to have them secure.
Well, I think if Councillor are of a mind, I'll come to you, Councillor. I think if Councillor are of a mind today, you know, to look after their elderly and the sick and what have you by way of a hospice, that perhaps the proviso is that they submit their plans for final improvement, that so we know what's going on our land, that we're comfortable. Is that a what word? Yeah. Although I'm sure they know how to run and build a hospice, but it'd be nice to bring it back before we actually see it go up, and just make sure that, because you want somewhere nice and relaxing. It's a stressful time when you're losing loved ones, and you know. The genuine desire is to ease the process of the passing of loved ones, and I'm sure it won't be used as a motel except for people that want to stay with their loved ones. So that's the idea of it. And hospice is doing very well with its new shop. It's opened up, and so they're financially and getting a lot of bequests lately. So anyway, that, as I just say, it'd be nice to have them come back with their final plans for sign off by council. Is that all right? So in the resolution, where it says arrange a draft lease for council's consideration, so when you do that draft lease for our consideration, that'll come back to here, can there be a clause in it that in that draft lease that we approve and sign off the final designs? Would that cover it? What do you reckon, Councillor Williams? That cover it? Yeah. So just make sure that clause. Oh, Councillor Crater, I forgot about you. Sorry, but I
was just going to sort of preempt what you're saying. What's the time frame for design planning?
Yeah, there's not even. Basically, they're doing a long-term planning. Where they are now is not long-term. It's outgrown it, and now saying, well, we know we can do anything with it, but there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no time frame. They're not going to be on for 6 months or. So we've got the time to get it right, and get it correct. And obviously, the quicker they can get an okay from council, the quicker they can start based on that, on having a sign. So, yeah.
I asked the question because there's something pending at the moment to do with what we were talking about this morning, which is a jump track, and we need to sort of update this with you
Yeah,
to sort of work out otherwise what we're doing. We've got the guide to put this jump track on that piece of land that's important.
I think hospice was also waiting to make sure that they had council's backing here today before they went any further and spent any money. I think the next thing you'll find will be preliminary drawings and a draft lease for considerations, because hospice is a bit like us. It has committees and it has to move, and yeah, it'll be a slow process, but it's a process that has to be started, hence to be able to have a finish date. So if everyone's happy with that resolution on item 10, that council supports the proposed lease in principle, that the Chief Executive Officer continues to work with the Lake Taupo Hospice Trust to arrange a draft lease for council's consideration, and as I said, in the draft lease, make sure that we get the right to approve the final plans before it gets built. So if everyone's happy with that, we have a mover for that. Is that a moving, Councillor Dano? Secondly, Councillor Minshaw. All in favour? Aye. Unanimous. Carried. Thank you very much. And do you want to move back? Oh, Miss Rawley, how are you? I'll move back now to agenda item number 8, Lakefront Reserve Concessions. Welcome, Miss Rawley. Before you start, Miss Rawley, so is webcam still down, Mr. Watson, is it? Oh, okay. So we'll test it a couple of hours before council meetings in the future, please. Okay. Would you rather just open for questions? That's okay. Would anybody like to ask questions and
One question I'd like to ask, Mr Mayor, is all these concessions that are given for the lakefront, do they change at all, or does the whole sort of process change when we take over State Highway 1? No. So this is independent completely of the State Highway?
it's the lakefront reserve. Well, I'll give you an example. Mr. Whippy's had a concession on the lakefront for I don't know how many years, and we haven't seen him for I don't know how many years. It's expired, eh? Or gone or something, yeah. Took that over.
Oh, just two questions regarding the licences. Are they? Does each licence relate to a specific area of land, a delineated area of land? And okay. And the second part of the question is, do the licences do you give them any sort of exclusivity, or are they just on a one-on-one? For instance, the hole-in-one golf. Are you allowing any of these people exclusive rights, or is it, because obviously I guess they get a licence assuming that they're the only ones, and if more come, that would they be a different type of activity, or do you see that some other operators doing a similar type of business might be included? That's the council's choice. Well, I guess the thrust of the question is, would those existing operators have any legs to complain with regard to the licences that have already been issued, with regard to what is in their licence as far as our undertakings to them?
Councillor Craig?
Sorry to go back again. Alison, two more questions. The safe swimming zone that we've been working on for some years with Water Safety New Zealand, that isn't obviously a concession, is it? That's just a use of the reserve, so it goes into the management plan.
Use of the water.
Yeah.
It's not so much use of the reserve as use of the water.
And that's becomes part of the management plan or not?
Well, the safe swimming zone is an area that is negotiated with the harbour master in terms of the operations that are allowed in the water, and it would be marked on the reserve with poles.
Like water skiing is done. The poles like water skiing.
Yeah. But the two sort of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't a concession for motorised water sports to operate from a reserve when you've got a safe swimming zone in the water directly in front of the reserve. At the moment, the swimming zone goes from the
it's limited to 8. What happens if there's a good case for some, and I'm thinking of perhaps bike hire in the future when we extend the Lions Walk all the way to Waitanui? What's the prospect of someone coming along with a bike hire business to, do they have to replace one of these?
At the moment, there's no possibility of us granting that position. But that's the purpose of this agenda item, is to open that up so that we can grant that position and start to be open for those actions. We don't feel that it's needed for us. So we can sense that people might want to accommodate money, and then we'd like to do that to them. So, for instance, my operation, they'll be prepared to set up again over the summer and see how it goes. Because quite often these businesses, they need a little trial period just to see whether it's actually going to work. And 6 months period, they have other business.
So the suggested resolution is allowing more flexibility to have sensible things like bike hires come along, and you can issue them with a licence and they can start business. Councillor Williams.
So, Alison, so if they get 6 months and then want to roll it and want to make a long-term commitment to operating on the lakefront, what would their process be then for applying for a longer-term licence? Because here we're just allowing them, well, the suggested resolution is just for up to 6 months.